How you guys doing today? Man, I'm having a pretty good week. Besides all the rain and the stress of work and stuff, my nephew, he agreed. He's 300 about 350 pounds, and he's got young kids. If you've watched my videos, you'll learn a little bit about him. And he's already experienced a little bit of pushback from his family because it's not necessarily they don't want him to achieve, but they're trying to say, oh, at 2:30 in the morning, you're going to go to the gym with your Uncle Matt. How's it going to take away from your life and stuff like that? And his answer was, it's going to improve my life. It's going to make me a better dad. It's going to make me a better, all around everything. We had some good conversations about stuff. We'll talk. I'll have him on here and we'll talk about it. He's a good kid. I mean, I like that guy. I like him as a person. I really do. He's my nephew. He's just got one of those good hearts. He's got a good heart. He's a good person. He deserves this. He deserves this big time. But it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for him. We got another guy named Marty that's, he's gonna follow along too. I'm giving him some private tips and stuff. I'm not doing this for any kind of money. Obviously, I want you guys to follow along. I want you guys to, if you're bigger, or I'm gonna do my diet too. My diet's gonna be different than theirs. The way we're starting out is I'm for the next 2 weeks. I'm not making them count calories or do any of that kind of stuff. I'm making them change the way they eat, their relationship with food. And so what we're doing is we're taking out all the junk. I know that's a lot to ask of guys. But what I'm doing is they have all the fruit they want, all the vegetables they want, and all the meat they want. And they can't do a lot of sauces because that's where all your sugars are and everything. That's what makes you overeat things when you start giving all that stuff. So they'll have, they can use some salsas. There's some all natural salsas that, I like to put a lot of spice on mine. Avocado is always a good thing to add to things. My diets, I can put rice in. Sometimes I put pinto beans, but everything I do is all natural. And so pinto beans are for fiber and stuff. But I don't eat a lot of that. Most of the stuff I eat is carnivore diet. I eat carnivore diet with a ton of fruit. I add avocado to most things. I eat a lot of eggs, a lot of steak, a lot of pork. Ground beef when I'm broke, you buy 7 pounds of ground beef and it'll last you a week. Sometimes I have to throw it away. I have so much left, and that sounds terrible, I know. But my family doesn't necessarily help me with my type of diet, and that's another hard thing for me is they still eat fast food. They still eat all those things. Chick-fil-A's in my house and all those things. That's part of my test. My test is hard. They still have the junk in the house. And the funny thing about it is once I started doing this, all that stuff started to rot. It turns out I was the one eating most of that anyways. So, we end up throwing it all out and, it's not getting restocked because I'm not buying it. And people only bought it for me. And so I guess that changes. It's not available for them. So it's helping them just a little bit. They still, like I said, they eat fast food and stuff. But I'm not trying to change anybody else. I'm only here for me. I will give you suggestions of what it feels like and how great it is. But other than that, you can't make this decision unless, like I sound kooky. I sound like I might be off my rocker. 52 years old and he's going through changes. He's trying to better himself and all this stuff. I mean, that sounds ridiculous. It sounds dumb as can be. Not really. But, if it used to would have thought, if I was what I used to be, I would have looked at me and thought, man, what are you doing, dude? That's kind of embarrassing. What, you just out in front of everybody, you're just going to act like you got joy in your heart and you're going to try to spread happiness and stuff? You sound like a weirdo. Okay. Feels good. I'll tell everybody, it feels good. You guys can, and the ones that need to hear me are hearing me. The other ones that, if you're not ready to hear me, you're not ready to hear me. I sound like a kook, and I'm all right with that too. But if you're coming on this journey with me, this is more than fitness. This is more than fitness. This is about growing yourself. And when you're young, it's really, really about growing. It's about finding yourself before everybody else does. It's for, you know what I mean? Like you get the sheep. If you're going to class, learn. If you're going to class, learn. Instead of thinking about it as something you have to do, be thankful that you get to do it. And guess what? It's only free for a little while. It's, especially if you're young. It's only free for a little while. So absorb it in. Be the best. Be the best at that first. Be the best at everything you do for the rest of your life. And by I mean that, I mean you don't have to be the most talented. You put in the most work. If you want it, you get it and you take it. No matter what age you are. If you have the drive when you're young and you'll be unstoppable. And that's where happiness, in my opinion, happiness is in achieving things, achieving hard things. When you show up to things, when everything in your mind with your negotiation brain was telling you not to go, you still show up. And that's part of the armor. That's part of the growth, and learning. What is learning? Learning is the thing that separates you from everybody else, or at least, gets you on an even plane with certain people, and to have some sense of intelligence. And we all can grow. My vocabulary has increased immensely. That wasn't a new word. But it has throughout all of listening to this books on tape. I listen to some of my videos sometimes, and I can't believe some of the things I say. And that makes me feel good. And I don't mean it in a bad way. Sometimes I'm pretty critical of myself, but I'm better. I'm better at it. It's hard to do this, guys. You have to understand, especially when you're getting older and you're going through all that stuff, and you have to see your face on this thing every day. But the good thing about it is because I'm going through the growth and feeling good and working out and eating right, this doesn't matter to me as much anymore. This matters to me more now. This matters to me more now. All this other stuff is, obviously I got some pretty good results with working out with 333 days in a row and eating a perfect diet. It's going to probably get you some results if you can stick to it. It's a mental challenge every day. I listen to Joe Rogan all the time, and he makes a great point. Like, he does the hard things in the morning. Like, he does this hard workout, so he goes in the sauna for 25 minutes. I don't know if you've done 25 minutes in the sauna, and if you're one of those people that can do it easy, then good for you. But man, I'll tell you what, about minute 12 or 13, my negotiation brain is killing me, telling me, hey, come on, man, this is enough. This is enough. You know what? You might be bad for your heart. Your body's overheating. You probably should get out of here. And I go through that all the time. I got some headphones. Or I'll just start talking to strangers in there. They don't realize I'm just trying to get through the pain. And when you do that, and when you make it to minute 20, because I don't do 25, he does 25. But when you make it to minute 20, woo, your day is so much better. Man, that achievement of that hard thing that you didn't want to do, and your mind was trying to argue with it, but you got through it, man. And you get to do that every day. You get those little challenges every day, and they feel good. Like the challenge of getting up every morning and going to the gym, or making your breakfast every morning, or sticking to your diet every day, and telling people no when you really mean no, because you have to go to bed because you need to go to work out. You got to make these things priorities for yourself. They're not things that get in your way. The other things get in the way of it, because this is how you improve yourself. You work out, you get smarter, you do your books on tape, or you learn how to communicate better is what I've learned from these books on tapes. It helps you with seeing other people's perspectives instead of always thinking of how your way, and controlling conversations and talking all the time and always, interrupting and not really listening to, not being interested in the other person. What it teaches you is to start. The most important thing to a person is themselves. I hate to tell you that. And the most important word, you actually get a visceral reaction when somebody says your name. Yeah, that's the most important word to most people, is everybody, is their own name. So to say people's name, remember, it usually will gain a friend if you remember somebody's name. And in the sense of, that you make that person glow with you, showing them that they're important enough that you remember their name. You know how important that is. I've always been one of those people that, I can remember everything about you, but I can't remember your name. I've always been that, and I think maybe that was some kind of like a defense mechanism. So now I try to, do as much as I possibly can to learn somebody's name and say it back to them, or if I see them again, to remember that name. It's so important to make other people feel validated and good. And I'm not saying it's your job. If you're not outgoing, then it's not your job. But if somebody were to talk to you, smile back and give love back. That's just the way it works in this world. There's gonna be bad seeds. It's just the way it works. You guys can't get all crazy about all this stuff. You got to do the best you can every day, and that's all I do. Is I try to do the best I can every day. Let's go back to my nephew, because I get off on tangents with these things. But when we get back to the first couple weeks, I'm just gonna get them on an all natural diet, and with that is I just want to get them used to the type of food that they're going to be eating. And I want them to count the calories, but I don't want them to limit the calories. I want them to see how many calories are in this or how many calories in that. And I want them to see that when we get to a certain point and we got to break stuff down, and our goals is protein. Our goals are protein. So if you guys want to focus mostly, carnivore diet is amazing. You know, if you can stick to that, but the carnivore diet is a difficult thing to do. I know myself. I love fruit. And sometimes I need some rice. The energy, it's a different energy level. And as far as my muscles go and stuff like that, I feel better when I'm working out my joints and everything when I have a little bit of carbs in it. But I only did that when I got to the point where I needed to be. You know, I'm still, I'm right at 200 pounds. I'm just under 6 feet tall, and I'm right at 205, 201. I know I look good. I look big in front of my refrigerator. And a lot of people have said that, but I'm just a normal size dude. Like I said, just around 200 pounds, and I'm maybe a little freaky shredded right now. But I get so intense in the gym, and it's, tell you what, it's my therapy every day. When I get in there, even on the days that my body's a little sore and stuff, and I should stretch or should sauna. No, I have too much stress. We're not stressed, but I just got too many things that are just all piled up on my plate. And I need to find a way to release them and to separate them out and make them not something that's overweighing my plate. So I just get in there with those weights and I start pounding away, man. I'll tell you what. And everything goes away when you do hard things. You start to feel a little better. Everything's not so bad. Everything's not so bad in the world whenever, you're achieving and you're showing up. And I did it again today, and I get to mark it on my calendar. I did another day, and another day, and another day. And as they pile up, I'll tell you what, you start to raise up. You start to feel good about yourself. And I don't care what age you're at. If you're looking at me and you're like, oh man, this guy's 52, just think about it for a second. You know what I mean? Like, think about how you really, really feel about things. And wouldn't it be great to be like achieving again and feeling happy with, just little things every day, and you forgot about this. You forgot about this part. You've been older now, and you've lived your life, and you haven't really thought about this in a long time. You think that comfort is happiness, but is it? Because I think we trick ourselves into that. More depression comes along, more sadness comes along. You feel like less energetic about life and stuff. If you're just maintaining your life. But if you're achieving stuff, if you're still getting out there and doing things and achieving and whatever it is, at whatever capacity you don't have to, you're not like trying to win gold medals in the Olympics. But achieving at my age, is still being able to swing a golf club pretty well, and still be able to go to the gym as much as I want every day, and I get to, my job is a difficult job, and I get to physically be able to do that job. In my mind, with all the working out and eating right and all that stuff, it's expanding my mind. There's a lot more room in there when, you're not having all that junk and crap in you. But I want you guys to come on this journey with us if you want to, or if you just want to watch. It's going to take a long time. And we're going to have some ups and downs, Hopefully they both don't, quit on me, and I don't think they will. I don't think they will, but you got to understand, the only thing that they're getting out of this, I don't have $1 million to give them. There's no prize at the end of the tunnel. At this one, the prize at the end of the tunnel is your growth, both of their growth, your growth. You're not going to get any prizes for this. But what you're going to do is you're going to learn how to respect yourself. You're going to learn how to show up for yourself. You're going to learn how to love yourself. And isn't that all you can ask for? Isn't that all you can ask for in life? Is just what is the thing? What is the thing that could change my perspective on things? You ask Matt, what's the thing that can change my perspective? What can change your perspective is you in your mind. Just do it. It's that easy. It really is that easy. You got to learn how to appreciate what you got. It's that simple. It's that simple. It really is. I hope my sound works on this one. I got to go. I'm going to go spend some time with my wife. I'm going to watch the football game. My son kicked my butt in fantasy football today. And I'm hoping my son will jump along. No pressure. And like I said, nobody watches these anyways. So I hope he jumps on along the way. That's another great kid, man, I'll tell you what. So everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I hope you watch my podcast, and I hope that you learn something, and I hope that you come along on the path with me, Trev, and Marty. It's going to be a fun one. And this is, like you said, we're starting from scratch. This is going to take a while. So stay tuned and see what happens.